Hey guys, Levi here at Motor Masters. Going to take you through one of our oil changes today, show you what's a little bit different about us and why we're doing some of this stuff. The first thing we're going to check whenever we have a vehicle come in for an oil change is actually the pre-oil level and quality condition. The reason why we're checking this is for a couple different reasons. One, you can see this oil is actually in pretty poor condition. This customer was over a couple thousand miles on their oil change. What this does is gives us a pretty good indication of the overall engine health. It tells us really what kind of process we need to use moving forward. If it was a overdue condition or if it was something that is a natural buildup that's occurring in the engine. Either way, it gives us an indicator of what direction we need to go with the oil change. If we need to just do a standard oil change or something along the lines of flush, that's going to get us really back to where we should be as far as the overall oil condition goes. So one of the reasons why we're checking oil quality and condition is mainly because on these turbo engines, they run a higher compression, which equates to higher blow-by as the engine's running. What this really means is that the oil frequency as far as when it needs to be changed is actually increased instead of decreased, as a lot of these manufacturers are suggesting. So like I said, moving forward, one of the things that we're going to do whenever we're looking at these oil changes, especially turbos, is making sure that the buildup in the engine hasn't accumulated due to, once again, the natural process of this engine running being a turbo engine. So oil starts out fairly translucent, and you can see how this oil has darkened and thickened a little bit. What actually causes that is the carbon that is bypassing the piston rings as the engine is running. As I said before, this is a turbo engine, so the high compression state of the engine, it causes more blow-by naturally past the piston rings than a normal engine. It's one of the things that has led to this engine having the amount of buildup that it has in it. But that's what you're seeing and smelling whenever you're talking about a musty smell for the oil itself, and the darkened quality of the oil is actually carbon itself getting into the oil. It's the secondary function of your oil in your engine. It's not just lubricating. So it's one of the reasons why we do oil changes, period, is that the oil over the life of the oil change is absorbing, collecting, and capturing carbon to be removed from the engine at your service interval. After checking the oil quality in this engine, we went ahead and determined that it was ready for a flush. The customer approved, so we're going to go ahead and go through it. The flush that we like to use is the BGE PR product. It's really good at breaking up carbon deposits that build up on the walls of your engine from being over on your oil change and having that excess carbon in your engine. So we're going to go ahead and use this. The process in this is we're going to add the cleaner, and we're going to allow this thing to run for about 15 to 20 minutes to get everything nice and warm and get everything kind of draining off the side of the block. And then we're going to go ahead and drain the oil, get a new filter in it, and then we're going to also go ahead and at the end, when we fill up, we're going to add this supplement that's going to continue to help break things down, but it's also going to enrich the oil, put a handful of products in here that are going to reduce friction and hopefully reduce buildup inside the engine moving forward. So we got the flush in the engine. We're going to go ahead and let this thing run for about 15-20 minutes or so. We're going to allow the product to get the current carbon content inside the engine into the oil and into the product that we've put in. And then once it's hot and ready to be drained out, we're going to go ahead and drain the oil, new filter, and then we're going to do a little flush at the end to get everything out before we add new oil. So one of the things we're going to do when we're replacing this oil filter is we're going to pre-fill the oil filter with oil. It helps reduce the amount of time between the time that the engine starts pumping oil and eventually gets oil into the cam journals, main journals, and then the rod journals, which is going to help reduce, once again, the amount of time that the engine runs without oil, and it's going to help friction from beginning to start. That way, during your oil changes, we don't cause any damage in the process of everything. See how dark that oil is? So one of the things we're going to note here is actually how dark this oil is now. It's quite a bit darker than it was in comparison when we started, which is a good thing. It's telling us that the engine oil, along with the supplement, now has a good amount of the carbon that's getting collected inside the oil, and it's being drained out like we want it to be. So it just indicates that everything is functioning as we planned. All right guys, so before we go back together with everything, we got the oil draining right now. One of the things we're gonna do is we're gonna flush about a quart of oil through the engine with the drain plug out to allow the extra bit of sediment that's at the bottom of the oil pan to get flushed out with the flush instead of leaving it in there to kind of go with the next oil change. I'm gonna go ahead and add oil to the vehicle. Wanted to make a note on the oil quality that the customer is going with. We're gonna do the Cam 2 Blue Blood. It's a little bit higher quality oil that's gonna allow the engine to the oil to capture a little bit more carbon content throughout the life of the oil, and it's gonna keep the buildup off the walls of the engine. So we're gonna go ahead and add the second stage of the engine flush. This is going to be a treatment that is going to help with a couple different things. It's gonna help the oil maintain carbon, reduce friction inside the engine as it's running, and then enable components to function correctly since they're being lubricated correctly. It's also gonna help with, once again, the amount of carbon that should be built up in your engine. It should prevent that from happening. So the last thing we're gonna do in the process of the oil change is we're gonna do an oil level check. We're looking at this line right here. It's right at the top of the hash marks, exactly where it's supposed to be. And if you can see, the oil quality now, even with it running for a second, is what we want it to be, where the oil is translucent, doesn't have any darkening, and doesn't have any signs of residual buildup inside the engine.